What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the How I Got Greenlit podcast. As always, I am Sam, and I am joined by my co-host, Alex. Alex, man, I'm excited today. I have been on a, 72-hour Tron bender, because that is right. We are talking about Tron Legacy.
Tron-A-Thon.
Oh, excuse me, Tron-A-Thon. God, I've been watching so many damn Tron movies.
Yeah, but dude, you buried the lead. Greetings, programs. Welcome to the show.
Two users here. I'm sure the corpse of Robert Redford would approve of us talking about Tron-A-Thon
instead of his legacy, his body of work, his corpus.
We came here from the digital world, looking for something you've discovered. And some of us will stop at nothing to get it. Your world is running out of time.
Hang on!
Tron-A-Thon, rated PG-13, featuring original music by Nine Inch Nails, filmed for IMAX, only in theaters October 10th.
So here, let me give you guys a little bit of my backstory to Tron, because Alex was the one who recommended this movie. I have always known about Tron. I know what Tron is, but I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial. I am not of the Tron generation, and I've always avoided Tron. It just never seemed like something I would be into. But Alex suggested Tron-A-Thon, and I said, okay, I might as well watch all of them. And all of that being said, do I think the Tron movies are for me? No, not at all. But at the same time, I find the Tron trilogy extremely fascinating in the fact that they exist, that they're made so many years apart from each other, and that they are all so representative of the eras that they take place in.
The moment they take out,
Yeah, they're super interesting.
Have you seen the meme that's already popped up?
No.
So they show three pictures of three disparate things, and the caption are, it's 1982. Tron came out and died at the box office. It's 2012. Tron Legacy came out and died at the box office. It's 2025. Tron-A-Thon came out and died at the box office. So there's not only are these as George Lucas says, echoes in it, but it's cultural echoes. And I was very excited when I saw the trailer for Ares really just gets you going. I think it's very effective, and it's got everything a trailer needs, which is dazzling visuals, spectacular soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails, and just a general sense of this is going to be escapist fare for the biggest screen we can find, right? Which is great, which is what movies should be doing, like they did in the 60s when they invented, CinemaScope and VistaVision and all these things. It's not TV, come back to the movies, right? So we're in kind of a similar era. So it on paper, it seems to bring the respite that we're looking for. I don't know if it delivers, but here's one more reason why I think it seems like your angle of inflection is going to be a generational discussion. My one sentence review of this movie was, it's the best Pink Floyd laser light show I've seen since the 80s.
That's
now,
fair.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what a Pink Floyd laser light show is?
Yeah.
All right. So you're old enough to know that. I had to explain that to a lot of people. In the olden days, before we had a lot of spectacle and things to do, almost every major city has a planetarium, right? And they have those funky projectors that will show here's the Milky Way and here's a supernova. And so they have this cool domed screen and this weird projector. Well, some savvy young astronomer decided we're not getting the numbers we need on the weekends. So how about on Friday nights, I put on Dark Side of the Moon and just show a bunch of trippy laser images, and people will get stoned in the parking lot and come and see it. And it became sort of a cultural touchstone of that moment. Not in the same, around the same time that the American arcade became an installation in our culture, right? And that's what I loved about the first movie, is that he actually lives and works at an arcade that have the games that he designed in them. So it's very much because I just rewatched Tron 1, 1982's Tron, and was just touched by like all the time and space of it all, you know. And also it was fun because I had an office on the Disney lot, and of course, you know, as a writer, you like think of ways of not to write. So I would wander around the lot all day, and I found the prop house. Super nice guys, you know, they weren't shooting as much physical production there at the time. And right above the main desk, it says Flynn's. I'm like, is that the actual Flynn's neon thing? They're like, yeah, man, we got all kinds of shit in here. And I got fast friends with them of all the fun stuff. But that's really what it is. It's a prop house full of nostalgia items is the Tron property, I think, is what you're trying to tell us.
All right, so let me give you what I consider to be my sort of like very simple one sentence review of each movie before we go in depth, because I watched them all back to back to back. All right,
but clarify, we're doing the Tron-A-Thon. We're doing
Tron, baby, the Tron universe, right? The Disney
so
IP.
We're not necessarily doing Ares. We're doing the Tron-A-Thon.
We're doing Tron Ares for the title of this episode, but we're talking Tron and all things Tron. Okay, and I'm excited because I've never known about Tron before outside that I knew it existed.
So you call it like a Meritron?
Ah, a little dad humor. This guy's a dad, everybody. Look out. All right, so Tron 1, okay, here's my review. It is arcade nerds being like, whoa, this is what the future's going to be like.
Right.
All right. Tron 2, the future has arrived. They're aware of it, and they're like, guys, this is the future now. We don't need this to look like Tron 1. Like, in fact, it looks way better than Tron 1. And then the last Tron movie is, hey guys, you know what? We actually kind of want things to look like Tron 1. So let's do that, because it turns out that it being the future sucks, and that what we actually want is the type of future we envisioned that didn't happen. And oh, by the way, as long as corporations are run by woke female minorities, then multi-billion-dollar corporations will apparently be good for everyone. I mean, that's I just walked out of the theater.
Is Gillian Anderson the woke?
No,
person?
Greta Lee.
Oh, Greta Lee. Greta Lee. Yeah.
So Greta Lee is the head of the same corporation that Jeff Bridges.
Right.
Is the head
good
of.
Corporation equals multi-culti.
It is,
wishful thinkers versus bad corporation by the
it is
the
truly
evil.
the free market capitalism using liberal ideology to sell.
You woke me up, no pun intended, to this. So Gillian Anderson is what I'm seeing, and I brought it up in past episodes, especially weapons. We're in an era where the uber bad guy is the mother figure.
Interesting, but she wasn't really the bad guy in this.
Well, Gillian Anderson always plays a great bad guy. Let's be honest.
I thought of her as sympathetic.
She always plays the frosty matriarch like a fucking boss, right? So, it was interesting because, I mean, we're bouncing around here, but the bad guy, the young guy who's the Dillinger character, who's always been the family that's sort of against the Flynns and against the good users and all that, and they want to make it bad. So he's the grandson, I guess, or the son of the antagonist from the first movie, and Gillian Anderson is like the mom. So they kind of try to inject like, oh shit, it's gotten away from me. What I noticed in Toto is that the makers of Ares seem to have reviewed the shit and do lots of callbacks to Tron 82. They basically ignore Tron Legacy altogether. So I'm very confused as to, you know, I like Tron Legacy. I don't love Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy suffers the same problem that the first or the last two do. I think that the first one is a great film, and I think that Jeff Bridges makes it so. You know, at one point my girlfriend was like, is he a good actor or a bad actor? I'm like, he's a good actor, and I'll tell you why. He got a script that was pretty straightforward. It's basically Alice in Wonderland, .com, and he is in the movie that we want to watch. He's got a wink and a grin. He's got a sense of wonder. He's got a sense of playfulness. Oh, that is a big door. You know, like that wasn't in the script. So all the fun stuff that he's doing is him just riffing on like the fact that the whole movie was shot in this is pre-green screen. This was a black screen. They blacked out a stage. All the actors are wearing white outfits, and they shot it in black and white and then hand colored it back. So the reason that we miss Tron 1 and the reason that you're talking about this, at least from the filmmaker's perspective, there's also a cultural element, is because Tron 1 was the interpretation of Disney artists, the best in the business, who were losing money, losing jobs, searching for a new direction. And this is what they were presented. So they put their all into it. Now, of course, there's rudimentary 3D. And what's fascinating is I watched the credits and it's like all the 3D stuff was basically, hey, get Caltech to do the Solar Sailor. They already built a model for some like demo. Like they kind of wrote around a lot of the cool like visuals on this, and the 3D works for the 3D world they set up. But what's fascinating is the hand-drawn and hand-colored outfits and sparks and little quirks and bugs and stuff. And I realized, oh, these are humans trying to draw like they think a machine would draw, right? And the ultimate fuck you about the first movie, in addition to the bad box office, but eventual, redemption on VHS, was the fact that it was so innovative and visually stunning. People were like, well, no matter what happens with this movie, they're winning the best visual effects Oscar, right? The AMPAS looked at it and said, well, you use machines, so that's cheating. So you're not eligible this year.
Yeah, something I want to say about this I found so funny watching it was that I watched Tron on Disney Plus, and it's so remastered as to, I felt like I wanted to see a version of that movie that wasn't remastered, that wasn't cleaned up, where they didn't get rid of all the graininess of the film. And then when I go into Tron-A-Thon, what's so funny is there's a sequence in Tron-A-Thon in which the main character, played by Jesus Christ, a.k.a. Jared Leto, goes into the original 1980s world of Tron. And They did something so lovely, which was they made the film stock look like the 1980s. So
and that's what I mean. It's
sequence is dirtier. That sequence is dirtier than the actual remastered Tron I just watched.
Oh, and by the way, I thought of you today because I was watching a video, and it was one of my many fellow filmmakers. They should just have a garage on YouTube called like Filmmakers That Want to Bitch, and we could be in there for sure. But like this guy was showing he's like, look, I'll take anybody, like movies look like shit now. So he showed our the movie that we just reviewed, the Wahlberg movie, the Shane Black movie, Play Dirty. And he was like, look at it's lit like a goddamn fucking telenovela. And then he's like, look at Shane Black's other movies. Here's like natural light, and here's some grain, and here's some darkness, and here's some shadow. And it's like all part of that. I really think you hit the nail on the head that we are all overwhelmed by technology now in every sector. It's touched everything now. And what's amazing about Tron is, yes, Tron was saying, we're starting to see it, guys. It's undeniable. There's a thing called computers. And at that time, just to like catch you up, like when Kevin Flynn is like actually writing code, what I like, there's always like a litmus test. Like I think the Matrix set the bar, which is it's about hackers, it's about the computer world. But they really made an effort to show green CRT screens and people writing actual code, right? And then they go into the machine. So in this, Kevin Flynn is actually writing code. He's trying to hack into the system. There actually is a story to Tron 1, which I like. It's very simple. It's just like, hey, I was the golden boy. I got betrayed. I'm trying to fix things, And you see what computers were then. It was those clickety-clack keyboards, no mouse, CRT screens that were green, no color, and it was completely theoretical. So when they used those machines to make something like Space Invaders, which was black and white, by the way, and then Pac-Man, then Missile Command, whatever, all the original games that we see in that arcade, we're left with this like, yeah, they really were dreaming big. They really did want to see the best of this, and it was fascinating because it's a movie, so they show Kevin Flynn sort of in a grounded reality, but the guy at NCOM, Dillinger, who's played by that great English actor who always plays shits like a boss, he has a touch screen like an iPad or like an iPhone. He has an AI that he built that now, as you see, he's serving his computer. He calls it master. His password is master. He kind of starts off like, hey, do this and that. But halfway through the movie, you realize the MCP is saying, here's what I'm going to do next. And he's like, well, you can't, the Pentagon, don't, what, and it's so funny to me because I always wonder, like, in our modern times, having hacking ability is equivalent to, you're a mage in like a Lord of the Rings or a Dungeons and Dragons. You have a magic power, you have spells, and you can do stuff that other people can't do. But I always find it funny that the first thing you do when you get that superpower, and this could be Mission Impossible's AI, this could be War Games AI, this could be the MCP, they always want to go after the Pentagon first. It always goes from zero to Missile Command. I don't know why.
No one's
Isn't there anything else?
Macy's.
Yeah, is there nothing else to hack that's worth your fucking time? Like, I would hack like automated farms and let all the cows run around and shit on the surrounding villages. Like, how about just a general sense of anarchy? Why is it always zero to fucking hallelujah, hallelujah, the missiles are away? So like, that's my one question. Do they all just borrow from each other, or do they imagine like that's what the machine ultimately wants to do? I don't know. But a lot of what you're saying has complete validity. Tron-A-Thon is seeing the literal birth of computers. We're starting to, it's coming into our house, but we have it in the living room. It's not in our pocket. It's not in a dedicated room. We would put it in the middle of the house and everyone would use it. And we would share one email amongst the entire family. I mean, it was so like innocent in a way. Right. But they were pushing forward, like, well, one day, even like Bruce Boxleitner, who plays Alan, the good programmer who builds Tron. And I love that conceit that the program that you write looks like you in the machine world and sort of like has a special relationship. Oh, that's my user, and he says stuff like, well, one day, computers are going to be able to do all that for us. Like, he's like the optimistic, like, we're going to make the world a better place. And you kind of see him as him and Flynn and the character, Cynthia Morgan's character, who was Lacey from Caddyshack, for those of you in the know. It was the optimism.
Yeah, that's incredibly important, because
it was the Wozniaks. Right. They were the Wozniaks. Tron, and even the old man. They have the old man. Hey, that's movie. Not right. Yes. And the old man comes into Dillinger and he says, this is not how I envisioned this. And he's like, we're not your company that you built in your garage, Roger. Why don't you go sit down and let me take care of shit? And it's like, holy shit. Like, they wouldn't know the Jobs Wozniak story. It was unfolding in front of our very eyes. But it inevitably split to the two sides of humanity, the idealist and the cynic. I thought that was fascinating.
I want to compliment Tron 3 for a second. Tron 3 really surprised me, Tron Ares. I went into it with the lowest expectations of all the Tron movies.
Same.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this movie. As you said, it was a Gen X,
Yeah. And the only people in this theater were Gen X people. I was the youngest person in the theater. And in fact, the meme of that college kid, and he's like yelling at his girlfriend about something in terms of like, the hobbits are blah, blah, blah.
Oh, the mansplaining.
The
blah,
mansplaining.
Blah, blah. Yeah,
well, there was literally a guy about your age mansplaining Tron to his wife or girlfriend, which I thought was hilarious. Like it was just like
Well,
a much
no,
older
you're
version
talking
of that.
about cultural touchstones now. So all I see
Right.
all day now are, and my buddies can attest to this, is that young women hate men now.
Mhm.
The manosphere, the Trumposphere, the Rogosphere have created these like, well, I'm an alpha, and let me explain to you that, and the women are like, yeah, no. And then they look up guys your age and my age, and they go, he opens the door.
Right.
He paid for dinner. He said, thank you.
Yeah.
He like listens to me. This is my guy, and I think it's hilarious. So she probably was 32 and he's 50, and he's like, babe,
dude.
there was a movie.
Oh, I don't want to say. The last thing I'm about to do is say how old I think a woman was on.
When you were born, there was this movie called Tron.
Right.
Anyway, go on.
So the one thing, look, there's a lot of dumb shit in this movie because it's clear that Disney executives are like, hey, you know that really cool bit of dialogue you just had? Well, make sure to explain that, like in another piece of expository dialogue.
So that's I'm not. Let me just full disclosure.
Yeah.
There was a fella who brought to you first Project Greenlight, and his name was Sean Baker, and it still is Sean Baker. Sean Baker was the producer of this movie. Sean Baker, I've always, I haven't talked to him in a while, but I always liked him back then. And what I loved about him is he took that, that was all kind of our like first big thing. He took that and ran and became president of production for Disney for like 20 fucking years, which is like unheard of. So he really made a name for himself. He really kind of rode the wave. Now, am I happy with the fact that he did the live action Snow White and the live action this and the live action that? Like, I'm not blown away with the sort of art of it, but I do give him credit for like having longevity and like, getting to the top of the top. And so this appears to be one of the movies that he developed when he was still running Disney, and now he's out of Disney, and so it says produced by him. So I'm just gonna say, like, good on you, you got movies made, whatever. I'm not thrilled with this movie, but like you, there was some moment. I think it's because my millennial friends and my zillennial daughter were like, oh, it's fucking dog shit, and
no, I don't agree with that. I don't
think it's dog shit.
Not
I don't
at all.
think
In fact, what I wanted to say was, this is the first big budget movie that I've seen in a long time that got better as it kept going. Most big budget movies I see start off very strong and end super weak. And this was the opposite for me. I thought this movie started kind of weak and then just kept really gaining momentum. And I went into this movie prepared to absolutely trash Jared Leto. I was just like
He wasn't the worst part of it.
No, not at all. I liked him for the first time ever.
You know who was though?
Who?
Greta Lee.
She was fine. She's, she did. All they did was make her explain what was happening, which is not her fault.
Well, that and by the way, that's not a Disney centric thing. Like I catch every look. I was listening to somebody's interview. Oh, I was listening to the Al Pacino autobiography. Okay. And he's getting much gravelier. He does a little bit of this, but he's much more of this. And he was talking about developing a property. Oh, Napoleon. He wanted to do a Napoleon. He found this incredible script about Napoleon, obviously the end of days of Napoleon, and pitched it to some streamers. And they were like, oh, thanks, Al, but you're a little too old. And he said, I think it's code for like, it was too sophisticated. And it was interesting that, he's an octogenarian now, but he wanted to make a film that was like a 5-episode, like, miniseries. And every streamer, we've heard this story a million times, and even Play Dirty was doing it. They all do it now. They're assuming that one eye is on the phone. You're not picking up nuance of a look and a glance, and don't tell them that. You have to say, don't tell them that, and you have to reiterate, well, what are we doing? We're stealing the diamonds, dummy. Like,
right.
Yeah, we know.
Exactly.
We know. You've been talking about it for 45 fucking minutes.
There's a moment in this movie where Greta Lee picks up the enemy's weapon. And if the hero picks up the enemy's weapon, you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to use it against the enemy, right? But she literally says, I have the enemy's weapon and I'm going to use it against the enemy. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this isn't a radio drama. We can see that.
What was the MacGuffin? By the way, do we all know MacGuffin?
Yeah, I know what a MacGuffin is. I got to assume anyone watching this show knows what a MacGuffin is.
Just shorthand. MacGuffin is a nonsense word created by Alfred Hitchcock to explain what the treasure is, what the valuable object or thing that all the people are going for. It's not necessarily exactly what the movie's about in retrospect, but it appears to be a chase for the Lost Ark, a search for the Maltese Falcon, or in this case, the Visha code, longevity code, the fucking turgidity code. What was it?
The permanence code.
Permanence code.
So there's a great part of this movie. So, like, in many ways, this movie is, to me, the most divided in terms of, like, its quality, in the sense that there are parts of this movie that I think are the best parts of all three movies. I really do.
I agree.
I
will declare I did have a little bit of herbal courage in the parking lot outside, and it was very trippy and cool.
Yeah, no, I like this movie.
When the lights go up and all the razzmatazz starts and the fucking 9 Inch Nails kicks in, and this because this theater was me and two stoners 2 rows up from me, they had the speakers going as if there was 300 bodies in this room. So we were booming, man, and it was like, it was a fucking trip, like literally like a trip, like you were transported to a place. When it didn't work, it was like this fucking nattering, stupid expository dialogue. You know, like
it can't escape that, because at the end of the day, it's a Disney property, right? Like, I kept watching this movie thinking, here's someone.
But I'm saying it's not just Disney. I'm saying it's a modern, high budget movie, and somebody in the meeting says, "Hey, man, blah blah blah. You know, these dummies aren't what." You know what I mean? It's some totally measure. Fair. It's some measure of, quote, smart, quote, knowledgeable studio exec who's fear-based and obvious will tell the filmmakers, like, no, you gotta, every reel, which is roughly 20 minutes, you got to tell them, where are we, who are we, what are we doing, and what do we hope to do next.
Yeah,
and that was not in the original script. That's a studio exec, like, hey, get more of that in there.
Exactly.
And it's looking down on the audience. Right. It's really just a measure of contempt.
Chris Nolan is super guilty of this. He explains everything in his movies. He has some character will explain what's happening in every Chris Nolan movie after you already figured it out. But, like, there's a great line in Tron-A-Thon.
He needs it because he's fucking obtuse and has a terrible sound mix.
Fair enough. I'm not a big fan of Chris Nolan. But I want to tell you something. I will get to that later.
I think we got our next episode brewed up.
There's a great moment in Tron-A-Thon.
To Nolan.
Yeah, no to Nolan for me. There's a great moment in Tron-A-Thon where the sort of general conceit of the movie is that the programs, which are the AI-like figures that live inside the grid, which is the digital world, they get to come into the real world for 30 minutes at a time before they basically...
Which is the flip of the first movie.
Yes,
the first movie conceit is a user inside the computer world. That's the, the fresh... Ooh, cool. Right. So it's like, it's a natural that they're going to, at some point, invert that, right? They don't really do that in Legacy.
And
but
at
they
the end
hint
of every
at it.
30 minutes, they sort of die a really painful, like
that I
death.
Liked.
Yeah, I like
that.
It too.
I kind of liked. And that does make sense. It's kind of a cool, like, well, yeah, matter would be unstable and it would be kind of grumpy and it would dissolve into goo. I mean, you've heard
when
the
they
goo
dissolve,
story, right?
you can see it's physically painful for them. Which
that
really
I
nice
like.
Touch.
Look, the details in this movie are incredible. There's some fucking flying shot. Who I don't know this director. I'm assuming he's a Norwegian music video director or something, but I've never heard of him. Don't know what he does. But visually stunning shots, like fucking sweeping shit, and like the guy holds up the disc, the cool fucking frisbee of death they all have, and he does the shot like flying through the frisbee into the thing, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is where the movie you do these fucking flip-a-doo shots, So visually, it's fucking kick-ass. But
there is good writing, is my point, because like so they die.
Where?
You're
saying the concept of
no. There's
actual
some good moments of dialogue. So there's a moment. So these programs, they come into the real world, and after 29 minutes, they dissolve a very painful dissolution.
And that's thus the permanence code.
Right,
They're trying to figure out. We've discovered how to project matter, to project electrons into atoms, and we can build stuff.
Right.
So the bad guys like showing the generals with it's always, by the way, always the generals with the glasses.
Yeah.
That's another.
Yeah, I know.
You know you're in for some shit when there's 10 generals and admirals and they're like, put your goggles on, you're about to see some shit. So they make a tank or whatever, and the guys are like, oh, I want to buy it. Hey, I'll order 6 of those. And
here's an example of good writing, though. So every time that these programs are in the real world and they dissolve, they go back to the digital world and then are brought once again back to the real world to do the nefarious bidding of their master.
Yes. They're reincarnated.
Right, they're reincarnated. Yeah. So there's this moment where one of the overzealous programs, who is, sort of the bad guy, kills a major character. And this program says this major character, don't worry, like, I've died 1,000 times for the grid. You only need to die but once. And I was like, oh, that's some good shit right there. Like, that is.
I liked her character. So just to set that up, this was, so the notion is that Ares is this.
I was trying not to give it away, but go
well,
ahead.
no, this is just basic. So Ares is built to sort of police the grid in not the similar way that Tron in the first movie was built to police the grid, and Clue in the second film. So Ares is like the next in the evolution of not quite a leader, but more like a watchdog and a guard for the grid. So he just does what he's told. He's very powerful, and the Dillinger character is in control, which I thought was a flip from the first film. A human creates master control program, and within the course of that film we see, his creation is now in control of everything else, including the creator, right? That was the MCP problem, right? In this film, Dillinger is in charge, and he appears in the grid as this Wizard of Oz face, and he orders Ares, do this, do that, stop this, stop that, incarnate and go get the thing, whatever it is. But it's a human bad guy that is in charge. And then when Ares goes off the grid, if you will, his second in command is anointed as the new watchdog, and she is much more zealous. This is the character you're talking about. But in both cases, what I liked about it, and especially this actress who played the sort of major domo who became the main bad guy, she has a lot going on behind the eyes. So she doesn't, she's machine-like, and they're like, we must stop them. But then those moments that you're talking about, you see that they're doing the fun thing of sort of like the machine is starting to feel like a human, right? They have this like recurring thing where it starts, they incarnate in the real world. They're just doing their mission and they think it's just like any other day of following orders. But then it starts to rain and they're like, what's that? So it's fun, like Frankenstein stuff, the machine sort of becoming aware and so on. It has plenty going on with it. It's just that Greta Lee, not a great actor. She's a good side actor. She's not a good lead. Some of the expository dialogue is especially dumb. The plot itself is kind of dumb, but it's not awful.
No. In fact, this is one of the rare instances where I would think that the movie might be better than its script. I usually find I usually find if a movie has a bad script, it's not going to be a good movie. And I'm not sure what this movie read like on the page, but I thought that, I always
it was all zeros and ones. You couldn't read it.
Right, exactly.
A human can't read it.
I just think that it seemed like the people involved in this, like Tron, like that they're into the Tron property. And it's
But I think they're into Tron 1 is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
absolutely
see a lot of legacy in this at all.
Well, you know what's funny? There's a moment in the movie when they basically say, like, main character from second movie, no longer in this movie for personal reasons. And
that's all they say. And it's in a weird like montage in the beginning.
They explain it at the end that the main character from Tron Legacy,
titles or something?
No, he's now left to be in a romantic relationship with the Olivia Wilde character. That's what they imply at the end of Tron Ares. In fact, one thing that Tron Legacy...
But I saw her picture. I didn't see his picture.
No, there's a picture of them together, which I thought implied a romantic relationship. Something I found interesting about Tron Ares and Tron Legacy is that each time those movies did something where I was like, oh no, like, how are they going to explain this? They end up explaining it. So in Tron Legacy... the first, Jeff Bridges has disappeared, right? And then he comes back and he looks like a really bad CGI young version of Jeff Bridges. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, are we going to have to deal with this like really awful CGI young Jeff Bridges? It turns out it's not him. Because it's not him, it works. Like the fact that the Clue character in the second movie isn't the real Jeff Bridges, and then they bring him back.
Oh, well, no, you're missing. No, that would have been better. So here's what happened in 2012.
Okay.
Some genius decided, like, well, we can do anything with actors. We can bring back to
de-aging.
life. And so, well, also de-deading, if you look at Rogue One.
Sure.
So these movies came out around the same time, and they were part of this same abortion, which was, we can do anything. And it turns out, no, you can't. Right. So the Clue thing was fine. It was in the machine, and you're like, okay, it's Clue.
Yeah.
There was a whole big sequence in the beginning of that movie when the young boy, the young Flynn, is with Kevin.
Yeah.
And it's the young... I would have preferred if they just did the voice and like the back of his head and the leather jacket. Like they should have just shot around the face. Maybe one quick half-inch shadow, like as he shuts the light off. But no, they give him full face, full frontal light. We got this, and you don't got it, right?
Oh my God.
So he was in the real world. So what I'm saying is you almost had me. If they were smart enough to look at what they did and go, all right, we need to reshoot the bedtime story shot. Like, let's just get a lookalike. Let's just shoot around it. The voice is fine, but the full face, it's just not working. We'll use it as Clue because Clue is like imitating a human, and he's sort of weird that way. And even I didn't put two and two together. Clue is in the first movie.
Yes.
Clue is his hacker bot who he's like, Clue, you know what we're doing? Yes, sir. I know what we're doing. All right, get in there and get that information. All right, we're going to hack in the system. You ready? Let's go. And that was really fucking cool. It was like, we all know Scrappy Hacker and his little like, Jolt Cola littered fucking, nerdscape will be typing on his computer and breaking into the big system to get the thing. And they did that scene, but they made it like a heist. So you have Clue, who is Kevin Flynn's sort of like hacker program, in a tank, like breaking into the system and trying to find the thing. And then the recognizers or whatever they are, the flying fucking tanks come and get him. And it's like a cool little action sequence that's also intercut with a typing hacker trying to like make it happen. Not dissimilar to the way that any number of sequences in the Matrix were like a person typing, code, but then cut to they're on a motorcycle or whatever. I don't know what it is between programmers and motorcycles, but they're fucking obsessed. And if we wanted to just boil down Ares into like a single fucking action, it would be a bunch of people chase each other around in various vehicles. It's all really just one big chase
movie. And in fact, the first is when I was talking about, hey, like every time I'm wondering why they're doing something, I'm like, they actually end up justifying it and explaining it.
Well, he leans over his shoulder to get the thing, of course.
But in a way that I found satisfactory. So, for instance, there's the first chase sequence. They give these programs in the real world motorcycles. And I literally thought in my head, why don't they just give them jetpacks? Like, why are they giving motorcycles to chase the main character? And then
that's
later,
what I thought. Like traffic?
Later they give them a jetpack. It's like they're reading my mind. Also...
Well, no, and you're funny with that because I saw the jetpack and I go, what's with all this fucking around? Give him one of those giant ass fucking flying tanks. What are you fucking around
Give
for?
him one.
And literally each vehicle they incarnate is like from small to big. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Light cycles done. You know, fucking flying light cycles done. Then they do a cool fucking like sort of boat, sort of jet ski fucking race in like digital water. That was for me the best chase.
Yeah, that shit was cool. And you know what's funny too? Like
way cool.
When they're on the motorcycles, I'm thinking to myself, God, like what an Akira ripoff. They're just ripping off Akira.
Well, no, slide.
And then literally as soon as I think it, they do the Akira slide to let you know, yes, we are thinking about Akira.
Yeah, we love Akira. We know where these motorcycles came from, blah,
so
blah, blah.
every time,
but by the way, Akira came out from after Tron 1. So one could argue that those like very cool kind of ball wheel ones. I think people are like imitating each other at this point. You know, there's a lot of winks and nods. But yes, look, chase wise, just like spectacle wise, it delivers. You know, Leto, look, he plays a certain kind of character now, and it's this. And he either is the CEO of the evil android company in Blade Runner 2049, or he's Ares. It's always just it's Morbin time. Like he just plays this guy. And I'm trying to look and go like, what happened to the Dallas Buyers Club guy? Like, did he take too much ayahuasca or something? Like he used to have expression. He used to have some like, some zhuzh, and now he's just this still Christ-like figure in everything he does, right?
I think Jared Leto, agent, should be given multiple awards for being an agent because I don't know who Jared Leto is for other than the girls that really liked My So-Called Life. So like,
which is now 55-year-old women.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I don't know who he's for, but I commend his agent for finding him not only work, but an Oscar. But something I want to talk about with Tron that I find super interesting is that Tron is this sci-fi IP property that Disney owns. And
it's original to them.
It's original IP for them. And, you know, Disney went out of its way. It basically bought Marvel. It basically bought Star Wars.
And that's why this movie got delayed for 12 years, by the way.
And yet they still hold on to this movie, which, as you have said, loses them money every time.
But that's the meme. I wouldn't hazard to guess. It's one of these things. Like, by the way, all my favorite stuff. The Thing, theatrical bomb. Tron, theatrical bomb. Wizard of Oz, theatrical bomb.
Right.
And name a movie, and almost always no contemporary accolades, no Oscars, no good review. Blade Runner, theatrical and review bomb. But then you just wait around long enough, and it changes everything. So I imagine Disney Home Video, very big, important part of that empire. In fact, I believe Chapek was the home video guy. So that tells you like he rose to the ranks because he sold those cheesy plastic covers to like, you remember the ones that popped open?
You're talking my childhood, my friend.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
and also
my
like
era? I'm the Disney fat VHS cover era.
The white ones, and those are in every garage sale and every two-horse town in town right now. But like, it's fine, and we love them for it because who started that? Well, Walt himself, because that was the first movies that I ever saw or anybody ever saw. Sleeping Beauty, 1950, okay, but then every 5 years they put it out into theaters, and people are like, "What are they, crazy?" And Disney has a great philosophy. He said, "Look, every 5-10 years, I get a whole new audience because you age out. You're out trying to get laid and, you know, fumbling in the back seat of your fucking Nova, but your younger brother, sister, or the next generation, I can keep putting out Sleeping Beauty in the theaters every 5-10 years." And that's what they did. Then when VHS came around, they're like, shit, we've been doing this for years. So they just bang it out. And then they'll do Sleeping Beauty, you know, whatever, plain. Then they'll do Sleeping Beauty 25th anniversary mix, and then, you know, and they just iterate. So not unlike a computer, will iterate versions of itself. But
Yeah.
I thought it was funny too. I thought the same thing. I watched Tron 1 last night on Disney Plus. It was very crisp. And I thought, I've seen this movie 30 times and 28 of them had tracking lines and like, you know, like just dirt. And I just thought that's an easy fix. Like there could be a button at the bottom of the screen that just says, like, you remember it. And it's just like,
that's genius. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to edit that out just so we don't give that away for free. Like you remember it is a great button. Like, cause you know, if you want to find the thing as the like you remember it, you got to go to the Internet Archive database. There's an actual website called the Internet Archive, and they've got Star Wars as you remember it. Like, and you know, Stranger Things, the first season of it, I knew when I watched the first 3 seconds of the intro and they had the dirt, the fake VHS snow on there. And I said, oh, this is for me. Like,
and the font and the covers are like paperback books of that era, because that's the thing people would forget is like, yeah, when you think about a childhood in the 80s, you think about the tracking lines, you think about like Atari 25 what was it, 2600, but you rarely remember the secondhand dog-eared Stephen King books and the Heinlein books and the Lord of the Ring books and all that. And that's what they went for. In fact, you're talking about the Internet Archive, treat yourself to this. The Duffer Brothers created a deck or a sales pitch for that show. It's on the internet. And it looks exactly like a Stephen King novel. So the cover is like a painted cover with like a kid with a bike, but like the bike's, the kid's missing and the bike's sort of, and like the storm clouds. I mean, it looks like a fucking paperback from and the font selection. And I think they even like kind of dog-ear the pages and stuff. Like it was all a nostalgia play from every level, which is genius, and that's what that show is and was.
Something I want to say about Tron Legacy and Tron Ares is that they both do a really good job, in my opinion, of being better than they're supposed to be. I think Tron Legacy has some really good stuff going for it, despite the fact it's essentially of the Linkin Park era. Like it's so, have you ever seen these memes like, this movie, but if it was in 2005 and it's like some like, horrible 30 Seconds from Mars style band as the soundtrack.
But no, the soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Who are the DJs? And they're no longer around.
It's Daft Punk for Tron Legacy. Daft Punk's Tron Legacy.
And they're actually in it.
Yeah, Trent Reznor for this. But I only have one. So for all the stuff that you're talking about the expository dialogue and the childlike stuff, like you say it's big budget, I say Disney, we're really saying the same thing. I only have one major criticism of this movie. Only one. And I said it earlier, but basically it's the idea that a major multi-billion-dollar AI company can possibly do good for the world as long as it's headed by just whoever, just like a minority female, I just think is so naive. It really feels like in what world does anybody want to celebrate like a major tech firm like AI company? That was the only part for me.
Well, no, but they also had her gang was also like a multi-culti gang. It was her CTO was like an Indian or Pakistani guy. Like it was sort of like the checklist.
As long as capitalism is diverse, then capitalism is
then it's okay.
It's okay for the world. It's just
right.
Look, like they got us.
The white guy they got. Who is this actor that they got to play Dillinger?
His name is something Evans. Peter. What is his name? He's not a bad actor. Yeah, he got his start in the American Horror Story, and he's been in some good stuff.
And he's been in some good stuff, and I think he does have talent. I think Gillian Anderson has some talent. It's just funny that it's it's kind of like the new Scooby-Doo as you pull off the mask, and they're like, the Caucasian did it.
Yeah.
And there's sort of an overhang. Like after COVID, everybody in town was like, we don't want to hear anything but happy endings.
Right.
We don't want nuance.
Yeah.
We don't want fucking real world shit. Do not bring us a COVID story. We want escapist, fun, fair. Now, the from on high is no politics. Don't talk about it. Don't show it. No red hats, blah, blah, blah. One battle after another, famously this week, declared it's going to lose in excess of $100 million. Now, I watched that movie. I'm like, where'd the $100 million go? You know, it really is not that an intricate of a movie.
Well, we know 29 million of it went to Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Does he have some famous number that he demands for every movie?
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't want to say for shame, but like, if you're going to do a message movie, like, how about take $1 million and give 28 to the fucking like Heal the Bay or something, dude? Put your money where your mouth is, you know, stop going to Jeff Bezos fucking foam parties, you fuck. But like,
I got one more major criticism of this movie. They tell you Jeff Bridges is in the movie at the beginning of the movie. That made me so angry because they're supposed to reveal him later. At the
beginning of the movie,
they show that he's in the cast. It literally, he's like it says like in the opening credits, it goes and Jeff Bridges, which is just like, come on.
So you wanted the secret reveal.
The movie's intending it to be a secret, and then they give it away in the text. It just makes no sense.
And then but here's the thing: they also, this is another like. Forget legacy existed. We don't want to talk about legacy. They purport that it's not the Flynn character. Like there's a whole backstory. It's played by the actor Jeff Bridges in modern times, but in the story world, they're saying it's another version, right? Whereas in legacy, they say Flynn got sucked into the machine, got trapped in the machine. He didn't abandon his shot. I mean, that was the plot of the movie was, you abandoned me and I miss you, Dad. And it's like, no, I've been a prisoner this whole time and we need to free ourselves. And then we kind of like Jeff Bridges doesn't get freed and the kid gets out and then he's got the hot girlfriend and, you know, Olivia Wilde, blah, blah, blah. So like the end of this movie, it was Leto was, oh, I am now a human, you know? So like, and by the way, that whole coda with him, I mean, I kind of just want to watch Jared Leto in a bunch of scarves in Thailand riding a motorcycle. I mean, it was so Leto. It was so on Leto.
Demanded that be in the movie. There's a great part in Mission Impossible 3 starring Tom Cruise, directed by J.J. Abrams, where he's got to like scale a wall and roll over it. And there's this moment when he gets to the top of the wall and it goes in on a close-up of him and he goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. And I was thinking to myself, Tom Cruise demanded that. That was not J.J. Abrams' idea. He said, hey, when I'm at the top of the wall, get a close-up of me and I'll say this really cool thing.
No, but Abrams has a weakness for dumb one-liners.
I hate it. By the way, when I said movies start off strong and end weak, I'm directly referencing J.J. Abrams, who has never finished a single project strong. It's
just like a balloon. It just sort of farts to an end.
You know what makes me so angry? He finally realized that with the Star Wars franchise. He was like, you know what I realized? Like, I really should think of the endings before I like make the movie. It's like, dude, it's been 20 years of you doing that. You just learned that now? Sorry, that's a whole different gripe.
No, and we can do that too. But there's a coda of Leto. So he's the you know, they make Pinocchio references, they make Frankenstein references. So the machine becomes a man and he's free into our world and he has the permanence code to allow him to not explode into gray goo and disappear back into the machine. So they're basically setting up that he's going to go find Olivia Wilde because Olivia Wilde was the first computer creature to become incarnate and she's still around somewhere off the grid. So he wants to go find her and ask her, like, what is this thing that humans do? Pooping. How do I achieve that? You know, like there's a hint of like, oh, and now we're going to bring legacy back. And it's like, oh, okay, but why?
Because they got to make a sequel, baby. That's why.
No, but I'm saying like, why not integrate everything that's come before? This has happened before. You see trilogies and quadrilogies and what happens in the latter films is that the filmmakers come in and they only look at the first film and they go, well, this is where it all started. I mean, this is the DNA. Like, forget all that other shit. And it's like, Well, we didn't.
Yeah.
Like, at least like try to integrate it, and they just leapfrog over it into this. The Flynn family is not in this movie. Oh, okay. So we're doing like no Skywalkers in the Star Wars universe. Okay, well, we got to get ready for that. Okay, and do you know what I mean? Like nothing. And then like my biggest piss off is the character that Evan Peters is playing in Legacy.
Right.
Is Cillian Murphy.
Yes. Well,
now
that's
when
what
I saw that, I'm like, oh, fuck.
I couldn't figure that
can't
out.
wait.
I couldn't figure that out. Was that the
guy.
same character?
It's supposed to be the same guy.
Oh, see, I thought that might have been his son. Like
they're both his son. So either there's brothers.
No, well, he's the grandson. They say he's the grandson of
No,
the
they
first...
said he's the son.
No, because Gillian Anderson is the daughter. She's
the daughter?
Yeah, so Gillian Anderson is the daughter of the first Dillinger.
So he's supposed to be Cillian.
I think he's
Murphy's
Cillian Murphy's nephew.
son?
I think he's his nephew. I think Cillian Murphy is the
you
brother
had him right there.
of Gillian
And I gotta
Anderson.
think. So they do this one scene, which is probably one of the better sequences. Again, it's a hacking thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like young Flynn is going to hack into the NCOM servers and fuck with them. And this guy Dillinger is there like, oh, I'll fight the thing. And you're like, oh, it's fucking Dillinger. And they're like, I watched that movie and I go, oh, fuck, he's the bad guy. He's a great bad guy. They're getting Scarecrow shit going. Yeah. Never showed up again.
I know. Wasn't it
weird?
He was
gone. And then I'm like, he's going to be the main baddie in 3. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, no, not him either.
My connection is that I think that Cillian Murphy is the brother of Gillian Anderson. They are the two children of Dillinger, and that Gillian Anderson's son is the grandson. By the way, speaking of the movie not incorporating stuff from Tron, it's the first Tron movie not to have Tron in it. There's no mention of Tron. Tron is in Legacy.
Tron and I believe Boxleitner is out there operating with impunity, so why wouldn't you bring him in?
Yeah, I doubt that guy's that his schedule's that full. So like,
I always liked him. He was one of those comers that never quite came. Like there was there's guys of that era. He was in the same ilk for a second then, but he just never like a Tom Berenger. Like you're looking at him like, oh, this guy's coming on hard, and look at Platoon, and then it was like, oh, whatever happened to Tom Berenger? Like. It's it's a mix of luck and timing and drugs and whatever.
I'll tell you what happened to Tom Berenger. People like me, millennials, thought he was just the major league guy. I didn't know Tom Berenger had this whole Platoon career as a kid. When the machine breaks down, we break down.
I
just thought he was the major league guy. That's all I knew him for as a kid.
He's the best, and he's good major league. I mean, he could have been a Costner. He could have been something like that. And I think, look, I don't think Boxleitner would have ever been Costner, but I think he could have been the real life incarnation of the fake TV character that Berenger played in The Big Chill. If you remember that movie, so there's another
they cut Costner from that movie too.
Yes, he was
Costner
the corpse,
was the dead friend.
And Berenger plays a corny TV detective in which they actually shoot like a fake title sequence. I love when they do that.
You know who he
stuff.
plays? He plays Tom Selleck. He's
playing
Magnum
He's
PI.
like, oh, jump in the car. Will you jump in the car like they do on your show? And it's totally like a rip on Magnum PI. By the way, that Tom Selleck himself was supposed to be Indiana Jones.
Oh, I had no idea. Did he turn it down?
Yeah. Nope. They offered it to him. They loved him, both Lucas and him. In fact, the concept art is him.
Yeah.
And the head of CBS was like, "Oh, you like him, huh?" And it was like a pilot or something. He's like, "I'm going to pick up this show."
Yeah.
And he couldn't get out of the contract.
That sucks. All right. So I have a question for you. We both like Tron Legacy. I think we both like Tron Ares. At the end of the day, we like these movies.
Legacy grew on me. Let me just say this.
Okay.
Always loved Tron. Have seen Tron literally like 20, 30 times. Watched it last night. I go, you know what? This fucking holds up.
Yeah.
Like it's a tight little story. Jeff Bridges is a great hero. Bruce Boxleitner is a great Tron. Mm-hmm. Cynthia Morgan wears spandex well. Like everybody's doing their jobs. Legacy now, of course, Olivia Wilde and a Black Bob, that's enough for me to get like 3.5 stars. But like it's still visually stunning. The music is A plus. Bridges doing like, yeah, you're in here now, man. Like that whole fucking Megillah. But that story doesn't hang together. You know, like the script is the weakest part of that film.
Yeah, but I think, Tron's, a lot of it's just about aesthetics, and they and they still do a good job. So here's my question. We both went into Ares thinking we weren't going to like it. We both walked out liking it. We know they're going to make a sequel probably because they set the movie up for, well, all right. They
every movie gets set up and then you wait fucking 14 years.
Well, here's the question. Should we give the next Tron movie the benefit of the doubt? Should we now expect it to be good? No. I
don't know. And I literally, I asked the same thing. I watched Tron 1. I go, oh, this is fucking great. And it's so just so you know, Steve Lisberg is this guy. He directed and wrote the first one. Like it was his vision, and he was a computer graphics guy. If you look, the visual, he was like the guy who created the look and feel. I mean, he hired a bunch of artists to do it, but he was the visionary of Tron. And, that's sort of his calling card. So in the second film, it's sort of like, yeah, Steve, well, we'll bring him back. You sit over there in the corner, we love you. Maybe you can consult a little bit here and there. This one, it's like based upon characters of some guy we used to know 30 years ago, the end. So it's interesting that they go, we know best. Just go sit over there. And it would have been, I mean, hopefully they had him do, hey man, do a treatment. Like what would Tron be doing now? It could have been interesting to hear what he had to say, but it was completely his vision. And like every other fucking corporation, they're like, we know better than you. Or Steve's not an A-lister guy. And I'm like, okay, well, who'd you get? Sharon Shaba. I'm like, never fucking heard of this guy. What has he ever done? And, you could say, oh, well, Michael Bay and, all the directors of that era, 90s era were music video guys. Okay. David Fincher famously, but doing a music video now is akin to doing, I don't know, an industrial movie in fucking, Dayton, Ohio. Like who gives a fuck? Like they're not cultural relevant anymore. Right. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he does commercials. It kind of looked like a big fat Nike commercial, which is okay. Like it was all the trimmings, but like, that's what I don't get. Like, okay, you don't want to hire the original guy because he's not an A-lister, but then you hire some schmuck we've never heard of so that the producers can boss him around. So like, why not just boss around the original guy?
Right.
A la the, I don't know. It's one of those things. I think only Bruckheimer can pull off I'm the producer, you work for me, and the movie still turns out pretty good. But I also think Michael Bay is a big fat, fucking egomaniac, and he can fight back to get, a cool ass vision through the Bruckheimer, like I'm boss of you kind of shit, This didn't really achieve that, I don't think.
I got the sense from this movie that the people involved, maybe specifically Jared Leto, like Tron, that they are into Tron. There are multiple monologues Jared Leto has describing why he loves the 80s so much. He's really talking about Tron. And
Depeche Mode gets a big nod. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, but going back to your original premise, which I think is very savvy, the first film is about looking forward. It's about projecting to the future. It's about here's the promise of technology as we see it in everyday life. That's what was the appeal of, hey, let's make a movie about what goes on beyond the screen, right? I mean, that was before Matrix, that was before any of that. And it influenced all of that. No one had done that before, right? They'd done Alice in Wonderland. There's always the going into another world. But this was the first technology, video game, arcade games are cleaning up and da-da-da-da-da. And that was the era when 1982 is when Blade Runner came out. So when they're flying through the cityscape and you see a giant Atari logo, you're like, well, yeah, they're going to be the first $1 trillion company. They got fucking Space Invaders and shit, the 2600. And it's like 5 years later, what, Atari who? So the higher they climb, the faller they fall. But
title of the episode: the higher they climb, the faller they fall.
Yeah, exactly. But you it was forward looking. Isn't it gonna be great? And even the end of the film, when all the input output towers line up, they're like, look, it's the future. We're all connected. I mean, what is the message of that? We're all interconnected. Our mission has been complete, because then computers were about This is our walled garden. This is our system. This is whatever. And they were like, no, we must connect it all, because when humans are all connected, utopia will come. Right. And we've seen not so much. And what's interesting about this film now, it's right. It's a nostalgia play. They're all talking about, but the 80s, and, things were simpler then, and, this and that. And by the way, that's the lie of the human condition. I was alive in the 80s. I had nightmares in the 80s. Reagan was going to kill us all, that crazy son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. Land of confusion was, and all these things about nuclear warfare. We were in the Cold War, and we were scared shitless.
Yeah.
The evil empire. It's like, this crazy old man is going to fucking kill us. Well, cut to 40 years later. Hey, this crazy old man's going to kill us.
Right.
And now it's a futuristic looking movie with machines coming to Earth. And the first thing they say is, I like the 80s. Like, what'd you guys do with this world? You had some really kind of cool ideas back then. What happened, right?
Right.
It's a looking back. And that's what I hate about our times now, because yes, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I literally, with the fucking Reagan and the whole thing scared the shit out of me and everybody of my cohort. But I also had a lot of hope for the future.
Yeah.
In that same way, I thought, well, yeah, once people are empowered and they get more exposed and educated and connected, and they'll see kind of the empathy of the other side and this and that. Now, one could argue that the Cold War came down because of VHS copies of Dallas and Knots Landing getting smuggled to Poland and Czechoslovakia and Russia. And there is an argument for that. But here we are now, tech run amok. And as I said before, the bad guy is not a AI that has become self-aware and wants the missile codes. Mm-hmm. The bad guy is a greedy white guy.
Right. Yeah.
And even when his mother's like, you're going too far, he's like, not enough. Yeah. And it's greed based. And he kind of, you could put him in an Elon Musk sort of dorky white guy. I know best. And I want to make money. This is what I want to ask you.
How many casting calls now do you think say we need a Mark Zuckerberg type?
Well, by the way, that Mark Strong, no, sorry, not Mark Strong. Who's the character from Succession?
Jeremy Strong.
Mark Strong is a great British actor who always plays a great
in a very underrated Disney box office bomb called John Carter. I just want to point that out.
Oh, I love that movie. We should talk about John Carter. Yeah. Where's John Carter too? But I love John Carter.
Yeah,
but,
me too, dude.
Another sad, wait, Disney did it right and they're not getting rewarded for it. But so Jeremy Strong is playing the grown-up Zuckerberg, and they're doing Social Network 2.
I heard about this. I'm very interested.
Now, it's not directed by Fincher. Right. It's directed by Aaron Sorkin, which is a mixed bag. But if they young him down enough, he's a dead-eyed weirdo. He'll play him well.
Yeah.
But and give him that goofy fucking hair. I just want to see him do the sequence where he buys half of Hawaii and puts on a gallon of fucking sunscreen and goes surfing.
Yeah, right.
Like they have to do all the dorky photo ops, or I won't sign on for that movie. Anyway, you really captured it. Tron 1, wow, the future's so bright. I gotta wear shades. Tron 3, yeah, this world sucks. Why can't we go back to the 80s? And maybe we can if we just dive into the machine and forget about the rainforest. And
it's like, let's forget about that middle Tron movie that's actually saying the future's here now and it rules. Like, it's freaking awesome.
I think the problem with Legacy is it doesn't have a point of view, because what is it trying to say? It's just kind of saying, fuck you, Dad.
I think it's showing off, honestly. I think Tron Legacy is just showing off. Look,
it's just showing off. And hey, we'll put the DJs into the fucking movie. Like, take that, you. It's just, look, I think Kaczynski is a fucking visual genius.
Yeah, we should mention that a young
Joseph Kaczynski, who now he was the guy credited with saving the film business, Top Gun Maverick, right?
He just did F1.
Guess what he's doing now?
I know what he's doing now, and I can't remember it. It's tell me, because I just heard recently.
Miami Vice.
That's right. And he's a good pick for that.
And he's a good pick. And they're going to set it in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. and I think Gosling.
That's good. I
I'm
actually
kind of
like
down.
I like
down
Michael
with that.
Mann's film version, or really videotape version, digital video, whatever, of Miami Vice, his film version
Yeah,
of it.
that was
I
one
like
of the first like digital films,
It's
right?
it's
Yeah,
the best college. It's the best college student film ever made, in my opinion.
I keep trying to love it because 1982. That's the show
Mm-hmm.
came out I think in '84. I loved Miami Vice, and you could tell that. I mean, I think Kaczynski's around my age, so he's really going to go for the like. And I love that they're setting it in the '80s. And what does that tell you? You are on the right tip. We are in a hard look back era. Yes. And you want to know what's funny about all of us thinking about the '80s and all the Stranger Things and this and that and the other? And I had to tell my kids this. I'm like, do you know what the '80s was obsessed with? The '50s.
Right. Yeah, of course.
We were scared shitless of the future because of the political landscape. And culturally, I mean, they never said it out loud, but Make America Great Again, it was Back to the Future. Let's go to the 50s.
Yeah.
It's Morning in America. Reagan was a movie star in the 50s. So it was, we want to be in the 50s again, which was, the unspoken truth of put those black people where they belong. Like there's no acknowledgement of the bad part. And that's the thing about nostalgia in terms of psychology. We are programmed to forget pain before pleasure.
Correct.
And somebody postulated that's so that women forget how painful childbirth is and have more kids. And I think that sounds like makes perfect fucking sense to me. So you remember when they were so cute? Now they're all grown up and they stink. Well, I miss that fresh baby smell. And it's like, do you miss 12 hours of labor, right? So in the same sense, we look back very warmly on the 80s because it was innocent.
Yeah.
And it had all the trimmings that we have, technology, the TVs and phones and this and that. But, like the phone was the giant fucking cell phone, but it was a cell phone, right? It was like the Gordon Gekko phone, but it's not dissimilar to it's just an iterative, like sort of version of itself. But in a way, we are in what the 80s wanted to be. And now we're waking up to it and saying, oh, maybe this isn't what I wanted, because we still have the greed heads in charge.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of lack of empathy for our fellow man. We still have obsession with wealth and power. So we really haven't learned shit. It's just that 1% of our smartest engineers have learned how to squeeze a fucking microchip into an ever smaller thing. Right. But what was cool about Tron-A-Thon is they did this thing where they showed a couple helicopter shots in the real world, and they made sure for us to see, a city from above looks like a microchip.
Right.
And it made me think, with all these data centers going up right now, if you look at a data center from on high, it looks like a microchip. Yeah, it's these little sub nodes that are stuffed into a single rectangle. I'm like, oh, the machine's taking over. Like it wants to cover our landscape, drink all our water, and leave us for, I mean, that's exactly what's going on now. Yeah. So the machines are coming.
Oh yeah, they're here. All right, everybody, to wrap this all up, Tron, still cool. Everybody, this is the How I Got Greenlit podcast and YouTube show. Alex, thanks again. Tune in next week because we may be doing the Robert Redford filmography. That might be the time. If you come next week, that might be the day we talk about Robert Redford. See. All right, Alex, have a good one.
Farewell programs.
Yeah, see ya, users.